All right, everybody, welcome in. So brace yourself. Okay, if you've watched if you've watched my channel, especially over the past couple of months, I have been talking a lot about twin flames returning to each other. I've been talking a lot about soulmates and a lot about standing your ground and speaking your truth and all of these kind of themes. And today I want to do a video about December's astrology. In the extended, I will go into specific dates and give you specific information about the transits. But in this reading, I want to just lightly touch on the themes of December, and I'm going to then do a reading. I will continue the reading also in the extended. Okay, so the reason I say brace yourself is that there's a lot of themes here. The themes of, I have my notes right in front of me. There are themes of balancing what it is that I want, what do I want to create, and what am I creating out of an old paradigm of codependency and overdoing it. So if there's a sense of like, I really want love in my life, and this is what I think love is, which is the paradigm that comes from an old story, codependency, you doing everything or being having the more emotional responsibility in a relationship, doing the heavy lifting of that, and being like, yep, this is what I want. I want a really intense relationship. And maybe you've never really understood that that's not what it is. That's not what love is. That's codependency. That's like I'm performing for love. And so December 2026 could be a time when you finally kind of get it. Okay, you finally kind of understand that approach, the approach of embracing love through wounds instead of healed energies, is the thing that has been tripping you up all along. So in other words, it's a bit of an accountability message here, which is like, oh, okay, all this time I've been kind of saying like, this is what I want, 10 of Cups, right? I want this happiness and I want this joy, and this is what is necessary for me to get it. December is going to be a time when that falls apart. That narrative is going to fall apart, okay? We're going to have a sense of these themes, and there's going to be a practical experience, meaning a love opportunity coming in. And can you watch yourself? Can you see what you're doing and go, oh, wait a second, this is coming from this wound, or oh, wait a second, this is something that I was taught that's what love is, but actually it's a way of me performing for love, or me overdoing it, or taking on all the responsibility in the relationship. So I think we're going to see that all kind of crumble and dissipate. You know, we have Saturn is going direct right as I'm speaking. November was very intense, right? Saturn going direct, Mercury going direct right now too. Mercury is going to be retraversing those degrees of Scorpio, so this degree of intensity. And it's Mercury, so it's about communication. So there may be a sense of like, I get to have another conversation about this. And it's possible that you might, make that same mistake again, that you're like, yeah, I'm the one that's going to do everything in this relationship, and that's what love is. And then seeing it play out over the course of the month. That's a really short porch, right? That's a short opportunity, a short window. So for some of you, this could be a partner coming in whose only purpose is meant to show you this kind of reflect back to you. Because we have a full moon in Gemini. And Gemini is about communication. It's also about it can be about overthinking, but full moons are about shining the light on communication with Gemini. Full moon in Gemini, shining the light on communication styles that maybe need to go away. So maybe like a way of communicating with another person that is very it doesn't have to sound like this, but like, of course I'll do everything. Of course, that's what it means to be in love, is that I am going to be your servant, and I am going to... South Node is in Virgo. And that's about sacred servant. And it's not about completely draining yourself in order to just keep love in your life. No, 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 no. North Node in Pisces is about a new vision. Right? A new vision for love, a new vision of spiritually connected love. I can't wait. So I have my notes here. I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to take you through a reading. I will go back to those notes because those notes have dates and degrees and stuff. So I make sure I tell you the right things. So that you can follow along in the astrology. If you're interested in learning about astrology or how this might impact you directly, there's a link below for my astrology course. And that's going to help you, instead of like, everything just happens to me, right? I don't know how to work with the energies. Oh, she's talking about Mercury going direct. Who cares? Like, figuring out how it might impact you is the purpose of really learning astrology. It's not about whose signs are compatible, although that's useful information. What I do in this class is help you harness the power of astrology, okay? So it's down there. It's in the description box. Divinity. Let's see where we're going in December. My intention for this reading is to give you useful information. There's the full moon. Full moon is illuminating something about your communication style or someone else's. Okay, or someone else's. Don't forget, we have Mars moving into Capricorn this month too, and that's exalted, and Mars is about action. So Mars in Sagittarius, fire loves fire, fire loves fire. However, Mars in Capricorn says, let's create a structure, and here's what we need to make it work, right? Here's what we need to put into place. And the Saturn part is really about making it work, but we'll talk more about that. So underneath is power. Pluto energy there. It's possible that some of you in relationships feel, like utilize different kinds of communication that keep you in power. It makes you, like, if you, and it's sort of like what makes you feel good because I'm not having to be vulnerable. Right? Like, if I'm the one that's doing everything, if I'm the one that's the servant, or if I'm the one that's rescuing, or if I'm the one that's doing that, then I'm like kind of above reproach. No one can criticize me. Or I feel like this is what love is because this is what I was modeled, okay, growing up. Affluence. Gotta talk about money, I guess. Safe travel. New life. Wow. It's possible that some of you have a partner who has, come into a lot of money. Maybe. Someone who has hit the jackpot, or they feel like they've hit the jackpot in some way, coming toward you. This is where these communications or these conversations now are going to happen, are going to take place. Okay, we're gonna start talking about things and maybe dealing with money issues in a better way. Some of the conversations, you could realize that it's an old style for you, an old style for somebody else. Someone's trying to take power. Power is going to be a big deal, and I will clarify that more as I get into the reading, okay? So power, in terms of a soulmate, and you kind of reclaiming your power, especially if you've been giving it away for a long period of time, and not realizing it, thinking that's what it means to be in a relationship. Yeah, I can't be, for those of you, some of you may align with this, that don't, especially women in our culture, Western culture, like, don't get too big, don't get too loud, don't get too successful, don't get too, like, shushing us. No more. Okay, so that might be part of this dynamic. Okay, underneath is the Nine of Swords, the Four of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, the Judgment card, the Six of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles. All right, I like this. You got an opportunity coming your way with this soulmate. And this is what, it can be about a balance of actual resources, right? Like with money. But it's also about a balance of power, a balance of, who has it and who wants it. It can show up in terms of money. The Ace of Pentacles. It can show up in terms of money. And it can also show up in terms of what we grow together. What are we growing together? How do we handle money in a relationship? Whose money is whose, right? I was just talking with somebody whose husband got a big raise, and she was angry because, well, I don't know if she felt that he didn't deserve it, or that she made it happen, and they don't share resources in their way of working with money. They don't share resources. So she was super angry because she didn't get her bonus or whatever it was, and it was just like, ugh. Like, it was definitely a realigning the balance of power in that relationship. And sometimes one partner who makes more money has, I don't think I'm breaking any new ground here when I'm saying sometimes that really plays havoc in a couple because of who can say what, like, who wears the pants in this family, right? That's kind of the old fashioned way of saying that. But I feel like there's a new alignment here of, like, who has the power in the relationship. Some of you could be reconnecting with a person, and some of you can be starting something new, but you don't want to start off with an old paradigm, right? You don't want to do that. I can see that. Yep, Knight of Cups coming in. Five of Cups. Ace of Wands. This is an opportunity that some of you feel you may have lost, or an opportunity that you didn't think was coming back around, that you felt was gone because of maybe a third party. But there's a new resurgence in this connection, and this Ace of Wands is definitely about passion. Okay, love and passion together in one handsome package. The Strength card, the Six of Cups, the Queen of Swords, the Eight of Wands, King of Wands, baby, and the Two of Pentacles. Okay, so this is a person, it could be Leo energy. I see Leo, I see Aquarius here. Leo, Aquarius, is that it? Leo, Aquarius, lots of Leo. So Leo is about joy and creative expression and fun. Six of Cups right in the middle here is about nostalgia. Maybe this is a person returning from the past, and we're going to this could be an olive branch. Somebody thought they lost you, and so they're making some kind of amends to you, offering an olive branch. And the Queen of Swords says, I see the future, right? I see the future. Let's have a conversation. And then there's a whoop, because I feel like there's something here. There's a lot to consider. There's a lot on the table. All right. So Queen of Swords, air sign energy, the Gemini full moon on the 4th of December. That really does have to do with, I think it's Mars ruled, and that is kind of like staking out my territory. I'm going to stake out my territory. Full moons illuminate. We're getting a bright light shown on what it is you want to create, and I feel like this move might move rather fast. So you need to keep your wits about you. If this moves too fast, then you might agree to a lot of things that maybe you don't really want to agree to. Okay, so what is this Two of Pentacles about, please? Two of Pentacles. Ace of Swords. Oh my goodness. Ace of Swords, Hierophant, the Nine of Wands, yeah, and the Eight of Cups. It's like you want to have this relationship go in the direction of renewal, right? Of a new life. You don't just want to repeat the old chapter. Even if this is somebody you know from the past, it's kind of like, let's do something different. And it's based on your own truth. It's based on your truth around the wisdom that you have for how you've been in relationship in the past. There's Taurus. Uranus is in Taurus right now at the very end degrees. Let's see. The very end degrees, Four of Pentacles. So that the third decan of Taurus aligns with the Four of Pentacles card, and that can be about some kind of stagnation or some kind of like maybe money created stagnation in previous relationships because of a power imbalance. It couldn't grow, right? It didn't grow. It couldn't grow. And so I learned that lesson, and now I want to walk this path differently. This Ace of Wands. Lovers. Three of Cups. Nine of Cups. Death. I almost feel like this person that is showing up here may offer you something less than you want, not exactly what you want. And I feel like this is what the Queen of Swords does. Queen of Swords says, no, this is what I want. And this is what I expect. This is my expectation of this relationship. This is either going to be a full-on commitment or whatever you want, a full-on intimate partnership. It's in other words, it's no more of the what we learned around the third party stuff. There's no more of that. We're not doing that. No. Not doing that. It might be very courageous of you to say something. This person you may feel like, well, if I say this, I'm going to lose them. And I almost feel like if you don't say it and you go along with what they wanted or what they say right now, I just feel like they're working through their own wounds right now. They're doing the healing work. They don't want to lose you. But I also feel like they're not quite to the other side of it where they can have a clear vision, right? Have a clear vision of the future. This Five of Cups, they lost you during a third party, but now the Two of Cups is here. So Page of Cups, apologies, the Emperor, King of Cups, and the Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, this person sees you as a major catch. All right, a major catch. And I almost feel like they're trying to... They're trying to give away as little as possible because they had a lot taken from them in other partnerships. They had a lot taken from them. Could even be money. Okay? So let's continue on with this reading. If this is your reading, I want to see where we go with this. I will go into each of the energies of December and give you dates and give you more astrological information so you can really harness this moving into next month. Starting Monday. All right. Link is below if you want to continue on December 2025. I'll see you over there.